Hello and welcome to another episode of Ankle Sore. This one's a little different. Today we're going to take a look at what kids of today will never understand. I guess we're saying kids under 15 to be specific.
Maybe a bit older. Maybe
go
like
on with that, like the year 2000 type era.
I think that's when it started to get
the cut-off.
fully professional.
Yeah.
Cut off. I think even the 90s to mid to late changed a bit.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking a little bit further back.
Yeah, and I guess it's probably more our childhood memories that we're going to bring up.
Things that we had to deal with.
So if you're in that sort of 35 to 55 bracket, you will relate to this episode.
Yeah, it's a nostalgic episode.
Immensely. But before we get started, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button too. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get an alert when a new episode drops. So, no notes, a few notes, but just let's get into it.
Straight off the bat.
What do you want to talk about?
What do we want to talk about?
I'm going to bring one up straight away.
Straight off the bat.
On the scoreboard in the 80s, there was Around the Grounds.
Well, we're talking about 70s as well.
70s as well and 60s.
70s and 80s.
If you can go back
Don't worry,
there.
when.
Around the Grounds, letters on the scoreboard. A,
Tremendous.
B, A versus B, C versus D, E versus F. And how would you correspond the letters?
How would you?
Oh, I'll say it because I've got it on my list. So you got no idea.
What?
Home teams.
No.
How would you correspond who A was and
I'll
who
say
B
it because
was?
I've got it in my notes. So what you would do...
You got me lost here.
You'd have to buy the record.
That's right.
Yeah, all right.
That's what I meant.
Oh, nah, so it's not that.
Yeah, it is that. But
And
I'm
so
saying,
what, you didn't know that?
I thought there was another angle.
So can I explain it for everyone? So...
He's angry.
Angry? Because you done that, you knew what we're talking about, and you go,
That doesn't matter.
Anyway, all right, I'll explain to the viewers, right? So, what you had to do, you had to buy the record, right? And I reckon it was like 80 cents for the little record.
60 cents.
30 in the 80s.
30 cents.
Far out. You would know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Team A would be Hawthorn, let's say. Team B would be Richmond. And you see A and B. And it wasn't instant. It was every now and again, right?
And there's the old manual slot.
And they're slotting the numbers in.
Yeah. So it's the old scoreboards, no digital stuff. There's no such thing. And you have to look on your thing and look at the score. And then if you forget who the teams were, you look again and you go, Hawthorn, Richmond.
You know, my maths was good because it was not 15 goals, 696. It was 15-6.
6, yeah.
I was like, 15-6 to 13-14.
So I'll be, because my family wasn't North, so I'd go to Essendon games and I'd be looking at what's North, say North was C and Geelong was D.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see the C thing, I'd go, North's kicked the goal, North's kicked the point.
Yeah,
so you'd be like, what the hell? And then, they've kicked the goal. You know what I mean? But he's right. It had come up every so often.
Yeah, every so
often.
often.
I did it with because my dad worked for Collingwood, so I was at Collingwood games a lot too. And North Melbourne, I was like, but it got better towards the end.
Got better, yeah.
Oh, of course, because it was then becoming...
Princess Park had, sometimes they would roll.
Yeah,
they would leave it for
do
10
it almost,
minutes.
Quickly,
and if it was like 8, I remember say you're in front 8 goals to 5, and it would stay for about 10 minutes, and you go,
what's going on?
And then you'd see it start moving, and then all of a sudden a 1 would go in front.
Yeah.
They've kicked 5 in a row.
Yeah. And you know, it'd be funny, you hear people going, geez, they're smashing them today.
Yeah. I was going to say that bound you.
Yes.
What about the other... Yeah, go on.
No, that's it for that.
Well, what about the other one, like when you're home listening to it as a kid?
Yep.
So you had Around the Grounds, all the different commentators.
Yep.
Again, what used to irk me...
You always say this.
3UZ, 3DB, mate. Say, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you know this. Do you remember TV Week, right?
Yep.
Do you remember TV Scene?
No.
It was like TV Week, but it was like a paper, like the Herald Sun.
It was like a green guide.
Similar.
Yeah.
So it had like all the, like channel episodes, like TV Guide. But on a Wednesday, if you bought it, and then on the Wednesday when it came out, or Tuesday, or whatever, it'd have the first page, that week's games on what radio station.
Tremendous. See, you knew, we're on 3KZ.
So I'll look at it and go, 3DB, I know.
And what happened on 3DB?
And why? What was wrong with 3DB?
So you listen to the game, Arden Street, listening, 5 minutes in, and the racing, and Mike Williamson, I remember as a kid was Mike Williamson, and they go straight to the racing, and you're just stuck there.
You're stuck with race 4 at Caulfield.
But then when they finish the race, they'd say correct weight, they'd give you the dividends, all that rubbish, and then they come back to you, and you're hoping, North have just kicked the last 4, so blah, blah, and you'd be
While you've been gone.
And you'd be like, you're happy with that.
But sometimes, and this is sometimes, I remember they'd play 2 minutes of the footy, the commentary. 2 minutes and they go back to the races.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
100%.
occasionally.
Because a race day would have Caulfield at 12,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2:33,
Randwick.
Randwick at 2:36.
Yeah, correct.
It was horrendous to listen to. You'd get no footy
And you're like,
action.
but the only thing that would help you come back and go, the Kangas have kicked the last 4 and they're like 4 goals in front. You're like, oh, that's all right.
Sharing radio stations with two sports.
Incredible.
Unheard of.
Amazing.
Unheard of. Right, Andrew, your turn.
So, kids will never understand driving to VFL Park, Waverley, right? Oh. It was bad enough for the drivers, an hour drive, right? And then you get stuck in traffic on Wellington Road. Worst part is your team loses and you can't find your car.
That's right.
Because that car park was
was a mess.
humongous.
Is that a mess?
It was
A mess and humongous.
And don't forget, that was pre-Monash Freeway
Oh,
tunnel.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
so you'd be going down Dandenong Road to get
One
home.
thing I'll
mate.
say, the greatest hot dogs at that ground.
Yeah, they had good ones.
Hot.
They had
Yep.
good hot dogs at VFL
Great
Park.
hot
VFL Park
I'll
in
give you that.
itself was a...
As a kid, right, I don't talk about VFL Park because just when you watch the game, whether you're there or watching on TV, did you used to think, like, how huge was the boundary
Massive.
line to the
Yeah.
fence?
Yeah, it was
Yep.
it was a
Mate,
massive.
big distance.
You could have a kick.
What
Yeah.
about, like, when you'd go to night games and you'd see in the distance finally over the rise
Yes,
the lights?
yeah.
Because that was the only ground with lights in the 80s.
And as a kid, you'd be like,
70s,
oh, I can see the
80s.
lights.
See the lights of VFL Park.
So I've got a question, mainly for you because you probably know the answer. The small scoreboard on the fence
Mm-hmm.
at VFL Park, what was the purpose of that?
TV.
Why?
Well, because...
TV, I reckon.
No, the small scoreboard.
Small scoreboard.
The Ansett scoreboard.
Same
on
as the
top
G
of
one. What about the
grandstand.
G
no,
one?
no. The one on the
the
On the
ground.
fence.
Yeah.
Well, it was because so people could get a view of the score from every angle of the ground.
But they had that.
But
the
if you were sitting
scoreboard.
in front of the scoreboard,
Correct.
you couldn't see.
Well, how are you going to see that one? It was like on the 50-metre line. Yeah, I don't know. I reckon it was
It
useless.
what
was in
about
the
the-
wrong spot. But the MCG had that as well.
Yeah, but the G, I reckon if you look at the G one, you're looking, the camera's looking right at it. I reckon it's for that purpose, I think.
That's what it... Or it could be... Yeah, so they're showing the scores as well on,
all
on
right.
the camera.
All right. Well,
Oh,
yeah.
I've got another one.
Go on.
I don't know, the commentators of those days, though.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were tremendous.
Come on. Like, they had character.
Peter Landy.
Yeah.
Lou,
Lou Richards, Bob Skill,
mate, Jack Edwards,
Yeah, they were characters. You're
Sandy
right.
Roberts.
Jack Edwards.
Peter McKenna.
And our favourite?
Oh, yes.
Who's our favourite?
Who's our favourite?
What's his name? ABC. Oh, my
I don't know his name.
Tim Lane.
No.
Doug Haywood.
No.
Drew Morford.
Tim Lane. He's the most boring
Who are you
commentator of all
talking
He
time.
about?
loves him.
I don't know his
don't,
name.
don't bag Tim Lane.
No, you
I
can
love
have
Tim
him.
Lane.
You can have him. Nah, he's
Are you joking?
boring.
Who's our favourite?
Who's the best one? You donkey.
Oh, Jeff Leake.
He is the king. The bloke that never held back.
Yeah,
Jeff Leake.
He's a good commentator. I like Jeff Leake.
So what about Saturday night replay, Sevens Big League,
Mm.
going off the
hilarious.
back of commentators?
Yeah, I agree.
6 o'clock, 6:30.
6:30.
As a kid, I didn't go a lot to the games because, like I said, different sides and whatever. But, so you'd listen to it. If your club wins, obviously in our thing, North, you'd win. You go, oh, yeah, we're on tonight.
Yeah,
so
on,
you'd be
yeah.
rubbing your hands, having dinner, and you go, right. And then it'd start, and I'll go, first we have blah, blah, blah. We have highlights of the North Melbourne Geelong game at
Yep.
the end. You see 10 minutes.
Yep.
And you spew them. But,
I
yeah,
remember
that's
setting the tape,
Yep, yep.
making sure, set the
Recording it.
VHS,
So
record it,
explain why it was such a big deal.
because that's all you saw
That's
for the
it.
week.
Exactly.
And the winners on ABC. And that was at like 3 in
so
the morning.
It would
That was
be
the next
6,
day,
You'd get the,
wasn't it?
Saturday night as well.
Oh, it was after
It
that,
was the
though,
next
wasn't
morning
it?
as well as a replay.
The next morning, yeah.
But yeah, you'd get 6:30 to 8:30, 2 hours, 3 games only, because it was 6 games.
And sometimes
on the one day.
highlights of one game for 10 minutes.
Perhaps.
And they sent Stephen Phillips there.
Perhaps.
Poor bloke.
And then those 3 games would only be the
was only
best quarter, maybe,
yeah,
if it was
yeah.
a close game. They'd show highlights of the first 3 quarters and then
Yep.
the whole last quarter. So you wouldn't get much.
There's
And that
only-
was it. That was all you got.
There's
And
only
that-
3 games recorded.
yeah. And
For
for
the
the
rest
the
of-
next day.
For the rest of the week, nothing.
Nothing.
That's it.
Nothing.
And you'd
There
get
was no
that.
footy
Herald Sun,
shows.
Herald
You get the World of Sport, you get that 2-minute highlight with the whistling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the whistle.
Then
the
you buy
whistler.
the Sunday Press and the Sunday Observer
Oh,
Yeah.
on the
God.
Sunday
Scotty
morning.
Palmer, yeah.
On the
Everything.
Sunday morning. So what about the night series then?
What about it?
So we're talking about
The old school, original
70s.
70s, 80s night series.
So what was it called first?
So it was the Amco
Herald Cup.
Wow. Okay.
And then and it was played on a Tuesday night.
Correct.
And it was played on a Tuesday night all the way
Yeah, all the way through.
the winter.
So now, just before we elaborate, Now that you brought that up, I'm going to tell you something. I bet you everyone thought the same, but no one had the balls to say it because they would have gone to look like an idiot, right?
Yep.
So you're talking about the Tuesday night.
Yep.
So on the Saturday morning, they showed
Yeah.
the game before it, which was the MCO Herald
It's on my list.
Shield.
But as a kid, you think, what are they doing playing 7 in the morning?
So what happened? The curtain raiser to the Tuesday night VFL game
Yep.
was a schoolboys game.
Correct. Yep.
And it was played at 6 o'clock at night. And that would go for 4 20-minute quarters. And then there'd be an hour's gap. And then at 8:30, the
Would be
night
main
game.
Yep.
They replayed that game in full on a Saturday morning at 7
7:30.
o'clock.
Sunday
7:30.
Sunday
Yeah.
morning.
Saturday.
Saturday.
100%
Sunday morning.
This bloke thought they were playing at 7 o'clock in the morning.
So did I.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought it was... Okay, it's still dark outside.
Yeah. I
thought
go, what
they
are they
played in
doing
the
playing in the morning? I used to get them
Oh,
myself.
hang on.
What
'cause
time do these guys get up?
Did you think that they played...
I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I don't know.
But it was Saturday morning, guaranteed.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Sunday, but anyway.
You can argue it was
I'll-
Saturday
I'll
morning.
tell you.
Have you got
I'll tell you why it was Sunday
No,
morning.
it wasn't.
Just check the TV guides and we'll confirm. I think it was Saturday morning as well.
I think it was Sunday. I'll tell you why. Because straight after, what was straight after it?
No, it wasn't Junior
Junior
Supporters Club.
Supporters
No, it
Club.
wasn't.
Junior Supporters Club.
Incorrect. It was Saturday morning.
if your lucky numbers come up, 135, you've
Yeah.
won a pair of footy boots.
2742.
I never won it.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I
no,
used to,
I
I
didn't
used to stand there
check.
with my cornflakes card.
Sorry if you guys don't know what the hell we're talking about.
That's how far back
There
we
is
go.
a group there would understand.
Yeah, there is.
The Junior Supporters Club. Hosted by?
KB.
Yep.
Before that, someone else, but I can't remember
I
who.
thought Sandy Roberts might have hosted,
Oh, I
Perhaps.
probably did a few to fill in.
hosted a few.
If KB was under the weather, you never know.
Yeah,
I don't
he
know.
might have had the old Bobby
He might have had the
Skilton.
other Bobby Skilton.
All right, let's move on. I got one. So certain games, like you could never see a live game.
No.
However, on the occasion that Carlton Collingwood, as an example, because it was usually the bigger
Yeah,
sides,
Essendon Collingwood.
was sold out, they broadcast it live.
Do you remember that?
So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
like
really
you,
late last minute.
Hang on, right? So you'd hope that it was sold out. Like the word would be
Yeah.
about Wednesday that
Yeah.
oh, I forget, they've sold all these tickets, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If it's sold out, we'll show it live, right? Channel 7. And you always hope it was sold out. So what we have learnt over time is that Channel 7 would buy the remainder of the tickets.
Is that right?
Is that a fact?
Oh, it's a myth.
And,
Well, you know
yeah.
what makes sense. That would have
Just to
made
make
an
sure.
absolute packet.
Like if it was
I
1,000
remember-
tickets, they just
Big deal.
buy them. And
I remember, and this, you can Google this too. Collingwood played Essendon in 1990 because they played in the grand final that
Yep.
year. And late in the year, there was a big game at
yeah,
Waverley.
yes.
Big game.
they showed it live.
I showed it live because it was 1v2. North Melbourne played Carlton that day at the MCG,
I
right?
remember that.
1990,
Yeah.
yeah.
North, being the home team, got compensated because they showed that game
Oh, okay.
live against the Gate.
Okay.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It would never happen today,
No.
but off the back of...
So you're right, but I agree with him. When you see a live game popping up, you come Friday and they go, "Yeah, we're showing it live."
Oh,
you know,
you'd be so excited.
I can't wait
So,
tomorrow.
so
you
just
know?
to
I do remember.
just to expand on that, I remember you could just rock up to the footy and not.
Yep.
You could just
No.
buy a ticket at the. You go to the window at one before we were members. Like when you're a kid, you don't
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
right? You could just walk up, mate. You can't do that now. You
No.
can't. You got to pre-buy your ticket. You got a seat, mate. At Windy Hill, when I went to Windy Hill, there's people standing on stubby cans.
Yeah.
And wooden boxes.
wooden boxes, and
Milk
the
crates.
crates. Yep, your favourite, the milk crates.
They remember
Milk
Princess
crates?
Park. Talk about grounds. Princess Park, mate, the best patties, pies, and pasties.
Yeah, they were good patties.
I don't
yeah.
remember the food.
We used to lose our minds.
Yeah.
Remember?
Patties
I don't
pies
remember
was
the
good.
food.
Yeah.
So what about, have you got one?
No, go on.
State of Origin football.
Yep. They'll never see that, the kids.
Yeah.
Tuesday
Today.
afternoon, you'd go to school.
This is the thing I'm talking about. Don't worry about State of Origin. The fact that it was at 3:30
Yeah,
on
3:30
Tuesday
in
afternoon.
Perth.
You'd race.
It would have been a day off in
you'd
Perth,
race
though.
home, put the TV on. You might have missed the start.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've
'Cause
done
it was-
that.
Yeah, like, it's halfway through the first quarter.
I went up, Robbo. I took a day off once because I
Yeah,
didn't want to
brilliant.
miss the start.
Brilliant.
I
And then
didn't
it
wanna
would
miss
roll
it.
into the news,
Yeah.
and the last 10 minutes and all those State of Origin games were close.
I was the best.
And like the ones in Perth, they're the ones that you start at 3:30.
Yep.
But it only happened when they had days off over there. You wouldn't know that.
You're
You wouldn't
probably
think of it
right.
then.
Yeah, you're
But
probably
it would have been a day
Probably.
off there.
Yeah.
They're not going to play the game. It would have been 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Do you remember they used to use the burley ball?
Yeah, it was like a
Like,
balloon.
Before we had things on the ball, we had nothing. It was just Sharon, right?
Yep.
And over there, you see his ball's got all this writing all over it, and it's like, it was weird watching that.
Yes, but I want to talk about that next.
I remember throwing my bag down and just going, and then putting it
Stay
on.
Roger
It's like
footy.
10 minutes gone, Victoria's losing by a goal or something. And you're like, come on. Like,
Getting
it's
some
big.
salada biscuits
Yeah.
with
No doubt.
butter and
Hot
just
dog,
like-
The Adelaide
George's hot
games,
dogs.
the South Australian games were at night because football park
Yeah, they were
had
always
lights.
at night.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
correct.
true. Yeah.
That was good. Kernan
Yeah.
kicked 10
10
in
one
one
night. Yep.
before he come to Carlton.
Yep.
There were some big games.
Yeah,
Big
I agree.
Yeah,
State of Origin
yeah,
games.
it was good.
Footballs.
Oh yes,
I've got one too after you finish with this one.
Footballs.
I've got that on my list. The old Kmart footballs.
the plastic.
What are the
So-
rainbow colour?
well,
Hang on.
yeah,
Start. What did it start
Oh,
with?
yeah,
What
the-
was the cheapest and nastiest one?
The brown
the
one.
brown plastic.
The
one.
brown
break your
plastic
foot.
break the end of your foot. It was $1 or $2, right? But if you only had $1, you're a kid, right?
Because you'd break into the foot because the mould of
Yeah.
how they made it, there was
was
a
hard on
dop
the
of
ends.
plastic
Yeah,
and-
on the ends.
Moulded in.
So you're kicking it, and sometimes in summer you kick a bare foot,
What are you thinking?
and then they go about plantar fasciitis. Mate, we've all
and
got
then it would split, and then it was
split,
over.
yeah, it's over. You go buy another one.
And what
were-
about the coloured ones?
Oh, the
Colour
rainbow.
ones.
They used
Rainbow.
to kick a tall.
Where'd you buy them?
Kmart.
Petrol station.
Yes.
Oh, petrol station too.
Shell
Yeah,
So you go
yeah.
to the petrol station
Shell.
in the basket.
or BP maybe.
One of them. But in the basket, you
The
go,
basket?
"Ooh," and you can pop it up right there as
can
well.
pop it up.
Yeah.
And then, mate, because you can, those footies were good to kick, mate.
And
You
what
kick
about-
them more.
Sometimes they were big balloons, and you were
Yeah,
disappointed.
big
That
ones,
this
yeah,
is a
yeah.
balloon, or you'd buy a banana and go, "This
Yeah.
is." So you had to get that sweet
So,
spot.
so what we used
Jeez,
to
if someone's got one of them now,
what we
That's-
used to do.
yeah, that rainbow ball.
You said petrol station, so there's no pumps. You couldn't pump up the footy yourself. You go to the petrol station, and like they said, depending on who pumps it up, if they pump up too much, like a basketball,
That's right.
you ask the bloke to do it.
Yeah, and you'd be spewing.
right.
Yeah, right. Whereas, it's got to be nice and kickable, right? So you'd be spewing if you bought
Yeah.
a half decent
That's
one,
right.
like one of those yellow ones that were $4.
That's right.
And they pump them up and it goes round. Yeah, but anyway, you make do, right? And, kids will never understand. They'll never understand playing with socks in the hallway.
That's right.
Mate,
Or
They'll never
balloons.
one guilty of
Never. Oh, not balloons. I've heard your story about balloons.
Play
But
with balloons.
Nah,
never play with
balloons,
socks.
Socks, mate.
What
but-
about the soft coloured footballs that they used to make, where it was stuffed with dog toys?
Yeah,
got that
yeah,
white
yeah,
stuffing?
I do remember
Just
it.
remember
football
that.
we used to kick.
They
Those
were
around.
like furry
They
sort
were
of.
furry, just indoor footballs.
But socks with my cousins used to come around, mate. If they watch this, they'd know, mate. You'd know they're coming
Socks,
that day
yeah.
or that night.
Get
and you
the
go,
socks
"Get it
organised."
ready, elastic, make sure it's proper. Go this footy.
Down the corridor.
I used to go, this footy's juicy.
down the
mate."
corridor.
Dwarfs.
So we talked about taped
Taped
cricket
balls
balls.
in
Now we're
the
talking
last
about
episodes, yeah.
Let's move off that. Let's talk about duffel coats.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Who do you have on your back?
Phil Cracker.
Phil Cracker, number 8.
Phil Cracker, and then the 8 in the middle. And I'd
Yeah.
walk around in
So
all.
was it Phil 8 Cracker?
Yeah.
Happy as Larry with my North badges on my duffel coat.
Yeah, there was some
Yeah, I was
serious
enough.
duffel
I
coats
was
going
enough,
around.
no doubt about
Did
it.
you,
Who'd you-
have? I had Kim Hodgman, 17.
Kim 17 Hodgman.
I don't know why. He was my favourite player in the 80s.
No,
because-
because jumpers, I had some rippers.
Because
And I met him in the flesh years later.
yeah, I remember you telling us that story. I think you had a footy jumper that was your favourite player, right?
Yeah.
And then your duffel coat was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's a
I
good
like
point.
him. I'll put him on my
It's true.
duffel coat.
That's a good point.
He was like your secondary favourite or third or fourth
That's-
favourite.
I like that.
You
You
know?
know who I had on my jumper?
Well,
The bleeding obvious.
you had McAdam. Oh, yeah.
No,
Shimmerbush.
I'm going back.
Oh, you're talking-
I'm going back cracker days. I'm back.
Shimmerbush.
No, I'm Blight.
Malcolm Blight.
Blighty.
I had Matthew Larkin.
Did ya? That's
That's
interesting.
random, isn't it?
Very
that's
random,
random.
yeah.
So hang on. Did you
yeah.
have names on
Yeah.
names?
Yeah, that was just the
Yeah,
set.
yeah, yeah.
Henshaw.
Yeah.
John
Ross
Hall.
Glendinning. I had all
Because
these.
so you get the set of 8 or 10 names and
Yeah.
you just sew 4
Get
or
whoever
5
sew
on
it
each
on for
side.
you.
There was always one that you go,
Who's that? Who's that? Yeah, you don't know.
Doesn't play it.
Yeah.
Brendan Ryan, is that?
Do they still sell duffel coats?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Explain what a duffel coat is then.
It's a duffel. It's a duffel coat.
It's a coat with a duffel.
What the
It's
word
a
duffel?
very, very uncomfortable, itchy.
Hot.
Jacket.
I wouldn't wear one now.
It's good for winter.
Thick, very
Let's
thick.
be-
No, I wouldn't wear
Yeah,
one.
thick. It's like the
hooks, the wooden hooks.
Yeah, the wooden like things are about
Wooden hooks.
so big. Yeah, I don't know. We'll put a picture of one up
Yeah.
because
Well, there's plenty of pictures as you're probably already watching this episode. The hoods. I took the hood off because then you couldn't see the name. Because the hood would
yes,
drape
it will
over.
cover. Yeah. Well, it depends if it came with a hood.
I
or
got-
not. Depends.
I got
if it's
another
the
one.
That's
Wombo
true, yeah.
store or the
This
good
probably
store.
this one.
Bluey was the original.
Oh yeah,
Bluey
true,
duffel
true. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Oh yes, remember that's
Bluey.
going
Yeah,
back.
Bluey.
You get the
Jeez.
little logo Bluey.
I just still had one of them. But anyway,
This will relate to me probably, but going back, going to the footy in the crowd. I'm talking about crowd of the early 80s, like 70s, mid-80s even. You can say what you want. Freedom of speech.
Yeah, it does relate to you.
Of course it relates to you.
Have a crack. No one will look at you and want to
That's
kill you.
true.
It's like, yeah, look what he just, whatever.
Yeah.
No, fire back at you. And no
I reckon
worries.
you changed the rules. You made the AFL change
Probably.
the rules.
They broke the
Do you
mould.
reckon I made
You know, you have
Yeah.
the SMS if there's any
Because we're still
behaviour.
We're not going to say it in this episode, but
No,
we're
we
still
won't.
going to talk about
The day you just went to the footy.
and the North Geelong final.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
we
that was
will make an episode, a North Club Corner, just on these
There'll be
two.
plenty of beeping in that.
There was a couple of crackers.
I need to get my notes. But
Well, one lady copped a barrage for knitting.
Yeah, let's...
Yeah, for knitting.
Let's
For
not
knitting.
worry about
Sorry.
that one. Okay, my last one. So remember when, as a kid, you walk to the ground? Like you have to park 6 miles
Yeah,
away, right?
yep.
You have to walk to the ground.
Particularly Western Oval.
And
Western
Moorabbin?
Oval, Essendon,
Moorabbin, Essendon.
all the
They
local
all
grounds.
are.
right?
Do you
All
go
the
to
local-
Moorabbin?
I've never been to Moorabbin.
Yeah, Moorabbin.
I was
Yeah, I
too
went to
young.
Moorabbin.
You're parking people's
Because you had
like-
relations close to Moorabbin?
Oh, but they weren't really. But you
Yeah.
never get a park there.
Yeah, people would charge $5 to park.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
their
that.
In their
driveway.
driveway.
Well, in Adelaide, they do that.
Yeah, Adelaide they do it. So you walk to the ground, and you used to see people selling merchandise.
Yes.
All the flags and all the
Correct.
In someone's front garden.
No.
just on the street, but
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, on the way.
You
They'd
don't see
set
that-
up about
they-
500 metres out.
But there's
yeah.
heaps of them, and they'd be full of scarves,
Yep.
hats,
Badges.
the little badges. Yeah,
And it was just a wooden
yeah.
cardboard leader.
But there was at least 4 or 5 at every
And
ground,
then
out
records,
miles away,
obviously.
right?
Yeah.
Now that no, you
No,
got to go
because woke
inside.
society, you're not allowed to sell propaganda
Yeah.
outside.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was character. That's
Yeah,
what
that
I
was,
mean.
that was fun.
that's a good
You
one.
see
I
the
remember that.
colours, and as a kid, you go, "Oh,
Do you remember clappers?
Yeah,
Yeah, all that.
because as a kid, sometimes I'd say, Mum, can we go just to Windy Hill, like just to, because like 4 or 5 years old, right? Just to see that and to
Yeah.
hear, like, you know,
The crowd.
because I was too young to
Which
go to the
brings
footy.
me to that. So when you're walking to these suburban grounds, I'm talking about the suburban grounds like in
The
more-
VFL.
Yeah. So when you're walking to them, and say the reserves are playing, obviously you might,
Yeah.
and you hear, ah,
Yeah, you can
and
hear something, yeah.
So you're wondering, fuck, what's going on?
Yeah,
Do you know
so
what I
you
mean?
wanna hurry up and get
yeah,
in there.
exactly.
Look at the
That's what I
score.
was getting to.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
no, it's in front of
hurry
the
up,
reserve.
hurry up, let's
Yeah.
get in there. Oh, something's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a kid, you
Yeah,
don't know.
as a kid,
Yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
enough.
What about under 19s?
Jeez, yeah.
Wow, yeah, they'll never see that again.
No chance.
So they played at 2 o'clock on the opposite ground of the game that you were at. So if North was playing Carlton at Arden Street in the seniors,
Yeah.
North would play Carlton at 2 o'clock
Okay,
at Princess Park.
Princess Park, yeah, gotcha.
Oh, no, let's go further back. They used to play before the
Yeah,
seniors.
sometimes they
always.
sometimes they would.
Oh, I get that.
occasionally,
Not always.
occasionally,
Occasionally they did.
very
A lot,
occasionally.
a lot.
That would roll into the
Really?
to the Sunday statewide cup, and
Yeah.
then when the reserves
Statewide Cup.
and the Army Reserve Cup,
And the Commodore Cup.
That's another
the
one.
Commodore Cup.
The Army Reserve Cup, they'll never see that Sunday footy like.
But the under
like
19s,
the reserves or whatever.
if you lived in a certain zone, you'd be zoned to that club, and the club would look at you, and you'd get a go, and every person with 2 left feet would get looked at,
Yeah.
and you'd play a little bit of under 19 footy, or you'd train, and the clubs would weed out their players from their zone, and that's how they, except for Carlton who bought players from.
But do you reckon
state.
do you reckon the kids of today, when you talk about statewide cup or whatever, they'll ever see what happened
Plenty
on
of state.
No,
a
never.
particular day?
Oh yeah, the John Burke day.
No, never happened.
That was
They'll
ugly.
never see that again.
We have posted that on one of our shorts.
We have
And what did he get?
10 years.
Okay, today gone. Never to
Life,
ever
yeah,
see
never
a
play
football.
again.
I don't think he ever played ever again.
Probably not.
anyway.
Probably not.
Probably do.
So what about team selection? I've got a few more, and then we're just about done.
Yeah, you'd have to
Thursday
wait
night
Thursday
team
night.
selection.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
On the
Friday morning
wireless, on the
papers,
wireless.
and then Friday morning Herald Sun.
Yep.
So and so got dropped.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And late changes you wouldn't know.
No chance.
Halfway through the first quarter, you go,
I've got one more
There's a
before
late
we wrap it
change.
up because it's just come to me
Yeah.
now. I'm going to tell you this one. I think you'll know, but and we've spoken about this. You know, when you're listening to it prior to, say, Harry Bottle, Straight W,
pre-match.
pre-match, what would it be? Ads.
Ads.
Dine with the Baron, all that. So, do you remember those?
Yeah, vaguely.
What was the
yeah.
Baron? What was it?
Well, I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure it's a sauce.
I didn't know. And I asked you, but I thought it was a restaurant. But
I think Dine with the Baron was a sauce.
Yeah.
Look, I could be
I don't
wrong.
know. I've got no
But
idea.
do you remember all these?
what
Like,
about, I'm going to ask you one.
Go on.
Round the grounds when they used to go, let's go to so-and-so at
Skeeter
Moorabbin
Coghlan,
for
yeah.
a quick
Oh, I know
score.
what you're going to say. 1.5 seconds gone here.
Yeah.
1.5. Oh, it's a fact. Frank Considine. It's on YouTube.
1.5
Considine.
seconds into the first quarter.
1.5.
score yet.
No score here. 1.5 seconds gone.
I reckon he did it on
Serious?
purpose because they're like, "Why are you crossing to me now? The
No,
game's
that's
just
a fair
started."
point.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon he's like, all right, you want an
He's
update?
taking
1.5
the piss.
seconds, yeah.
He's probably taking the.
So
Mickey.
this is my final one, maybe our final one.
Yeah.
Our
probably,
final one, we'll wrap it up.
When games were not broadcasted live, like now with Foxtel, you can get any game you want live. If you don't want to know the score,
yes.
look away now.
If you don't wish to know the score, I suggest you look away now.
Yes.
Johnny Diesel right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, how many were there?
Oh,
There was
Beatles.
a dozen.
Madonna,
Do you wanna know a secret?
Do you want to know a secret?
Yep.
Madonna was Keep Me Hanging. No,
No, that was
that
Kim Wilde.
was Kim
yeah,
Wilde.
Kim Wilde.
Keep
There was a
Me Hanging
Madonna
On.
one. I can't think of it. There was a few songs that
Borderline, maybe?
Well,
they
borderline.
I don't know.
Keep Me Hanging On. There was
Yeah,
one.
yeah, it's Kim Wilde.
It's
We said
Kim
that
Wilde,
one,
yeah.
Let us know in the comments if there's any that
That
you
we
remember.
haven't thought of. There's plenty there.
There's
Listen,
heaps.
do you want to know a secret?
Yeah, that's
Is that
Beatles.
one?
Yeah, that's
Beatles?
we've named 4. We said there was 12, but there's probably
No, there
6.
is. There is. There's about 7 or 8 for sure.
I reckon there's a video on YouTube that has.
Yep,
No,
yep.
I reckon
there is.
Yeah,
there
All right.
is. There is.
All right. Well, there you go.
I'm exhausted after that one.
I know it was a big one.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of Ankle Sore in the books. Let us know in the comments if we've missed anything or if there's anything you can add to that. That was really good fun, boys.
That was good.
We'll see you in
Enjoy.
the next one.
Memories.